to Kennett, Zenith Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for talk.
We've started a new season, and we've decided, since we can't keep all of our tapes, we'd like to show you a few highlights from some of the things we did in 1978. And the first thing that came to our mind as we reviewed these tapes was a showing at the museum in October. This was we called it a China showing, and Sandy Brown came on with some of the things that will be exhibited. And let's look. We find her as she's right in the middle of a show, and let's look at what she's showing.
Oh, that is lovely. And this is Bavarian, and it's hand-painted. A lot of the artists signed their pieces and are quite well noted. But people had lovely things in their home at this time. Big dressers.
Dresser tray.
And here's now that's hand-painted china. I want you to see the difference between hand-painted and what we call a transfer pattern.
Now this is a transfer pattern?
Yes, this is a transfer pattern. And it is not hand-painted. Now it is...
Are you trying to see the bottom?
Yeah, I was trying to see the mark on that one. That's Bavarian also. This is a fruit bowl.
Bavarian. Okay.
It has the lovely cutout.
All right, you have a couple more items. Can you reach?
I'll get over here and reach. Okay, we're going to have this bowl also on display. I want you to feel the weight of this. It's very heavy. This is cut glass.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely.
This is the one I wouldn't let Rosemary carry in.
That's right. I'm glad. I saw that she sort of shuddered as I took it from her here.
All right. This is a signed piece of cut glass from the Brilliant period. Now, there's different periods in cut glass, and this one is a very lovely one. Now, the signature you can't hardly see. You have to
now,
hold
where
it
is
up
the signature?
In the very center of the bowl. It's signed.
From the inside or the outside, Sandy?
From the inside. You have to look down in the bowl.
So you look in here. Were all pieces of cut glass signed?
Not all pieces were signed. Some of the better pieces were signed. I want people to realize, too, that cut glass was expensive back then. Most people think cut glass was not expensive, but it was, and the majority of the households did not have it. They had the less expensive press glass, which a lot of people collect today. There's just hundreds and hundreds of patterns, and it's a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah. Another interesting tape. In 1978, the price of gold soared, and we asked Mr. VC Jollif to come out, and he shows us some examples of gold. He has a $3 gold piece that's worth $600 and a $20 gold piece, I believe, that sells for a mere $450. He talks about those who have collected these things, and we get a look at some of the more interesting pieces. Let's look at what Mr. Jollif brought.
Well, they made some 32s, but it's illegal to have 31s or 32s because they were never issued to the public. But they've still got them, the Federal Reserve still got them.
All right, so if you were fortunate enough to have hung on to some gold coins that were in circulation,
yeah.
they are worth quite a bit of money today.
That's true.
Do you see an end to this that's happening to
not
us? As far
until
as
we control inflation and our export spending. That's the whole thing.
All right. Let's look at some more. For people who have collected gold, what other than this typeset, what sort of things are extremely valuable?
That's the high relief 20 St. Gordians. That's the first gold piece. That's the first gold piece in the St. Gordians. It's 1907 high relief. And
high relief. Now, that means it really stands up off the face of the coin more than any coins we have today,
that's
right?
That's true. And the reason they've taken it out of circulation was that it wore so bad. The bank couldn't stack them. They wouldn't stack up. That coin at issue was $20, and it's worth $3,550 today.
Okay, so if you have any of these old things lying around, open the drawers and look and get them at worth $3,500.
Yeah.
Are there many in circulation? I mean, are there many around?
Not too many. You see, when you go to a coin show, you'll average seeing 1 or 2 dealers with one of those.
All right, that's a very valuable item also.
This is another gold type set. It's got 1 additional coin in it, or 2 additional coins. This coin right here, and then a 5 on the next page, is called a cap bust. They started making those in 1807 and made them until 1836. Those are the 2 most valuable coins in there.
Now, this coin collection would be worth what?
This particular collection.
Now, this belonged to a private collector, did it not?
Right.
All right. Now, it's worth what today?
It's worth about close to 13,000.
All right.
Probably 50, 70, it's probably $105 or $6 face value in it at the time that it was purchased.
Mm-hmm. And it's increased in value that much.
Right.
Now, gold coins are not the only thing that you have. I mean, coins that were in circulation ever. What sort of thing do you have here?
Now, this is put out by the...
Okay, after Mr. Jollif and his gold coins, we're going to take a look at something that came to Kennett. It was actually a bookmobile that was on loan from the state of Montana, but it housed a migrant dental program. And let's watch an interview we had with some of those people.
A lot of material we find ourselves reading a lot. Not really. It was converted into a 2-unit, 2-dental chair unit mobile van, and we have acquired it from Montana. And now there is
why are we using Montana's van?
Well, it is a lend-lease type of situation. Montana, as well as all the other 50 states, more concentrated in the central United States, has a migrant program. Now, the migrant program is specially designed for underprivileged children which have a certain quality. Now, this quality is that they have moved within the last 5 years. They usually tend to go with the agricultural shifts in the country. And if they have qualified for this program, they receive free dental care.
All right. We have some black and white footage that we would like to show you, and these gentlemen can comment on this as we come across it. We'll show you the van, and all right, tell me what's taking place as we're watching.
Oh, this is Teresa, our assistant. That's the South School playground in the background. And the students are brought in from different areas. We don't only serve Kennett, but we serve the area of Holcomb and Deering. And this is a...
Now, is Holcomb busing in students and Deering busing theirs in too?
That's right. We usually tend to stay with Kennett students in the afternoons, and the mornings are reserved for other students. We see around 6 or 7 students per morning. On a good morning, we'll see up to 10.
One thing which happened in 1978, which was on a rather sad note, was the closing of the Presnell Hospital. And the hospital administrator, Flora Todd, came out, and she talks with us just a little bit about the Presnell Hospital.
In what is now the McCaney property in the north end of town with 17 beds.
The McCaney property, that's
on College Avenue.
On College. Was it a large structure?
Well, it had 3 levels. It had a basement where we located the dietary department and laundry department. Then the first floor, we had the beds in the operating room and the lab. And then it had an attic. It really wasn't a second story at that time. It was just an attic, really. And the nurses, at that time, the hospital furnished living quarters for all the nurses. You know, most of them were single at that. And the nurses lived in the attic area. Was furnished with beds.
Would you happen to remember how many nurses were there?
Well, I'm not sure. There must have been about 8 lived up there, you know. It's just one great big room. They all just, one big happy family.
All right. Now, there were 17 beds, you say, at this point. Now, what year are we talking about there?
August 1939 is when we opened.
All right.
The building up there.
Now, was that intended to be a temporary thing?
Yes, until Dr. Presnell Sr., Dr. UA, could finance building a hospital.
All right, so he knew this was a temporary measure.
Yes.
Now, were there offices for the hospital someplace uptown? Or?
They were in the back of what was Guy Smith's drugstore at that time, which was located where Magnavox TV is now. So the doctor's offices were really downtown.
But the hospital was out on College, on the McCaney, what's now the McCaney property, 17 beds. All right, at what point in time was Presnell Hospital built?
Well, they started building it in 1940. Dr. Wade got a loan from an insurance company.
That's right, there weren't government loans at that time.
No, and it's a private concern, so there was no government funds available.
All right, now
I mean, not for a private concern.
Now, was there any other hospital in this area?
No, there was not. There was none in Dunklin County at that time.
All right, now go ahead. You say.
And he got a loan from the insurance company, which he thought was sufficient to build the type of hospital that the architect had drawn up. He put up his property. He owned the land where the hospital is and on down to the South Bypass at that time. So he put that up as collateral and borrowed enough money which he thought would build a hospital. But that's just like everything else. He ran out of money before it was completed.
And what did he do?
Well, he went to the citizens of Kennett. There were several of them, and asked them to help him out, and they all loaned him $1,000 apiece. He gave each one of them a promissory note. And he completed the hospital. And it being on the only hospital in this area, of course, we were full all the time. And we opened up in 41. By 45, all the notes were paid off. All the obligations were paid off. What the doctors did, they put all their funds just in one pocket. The doctors only took enough out of the income to live on.
To finish out this tape, let us give you a look at the history of agriculture in this section. We had Ophelia Wade as our guest, and she is in the midst of telling about the first group that came to this country. They were looking for a utopia. Can you imagine searching for a utopia in the boot heel of Missouri? But that's exactly what they did. And let's listen to Ophelia.
Or anything that they could loot from the Indians. But the first group of white settlers who came en masse came to this area, and they were led by Colonel George Morgan. Now, he was a Virginian who had fought in the Revolution. And it was his dream to come to this area and set up a big empire. Now, he was going to make settlements from Cape Girardeau, Missouri to Helena, Arkansas. Each farmer was to receive 320 acres of land. He also told those farm families that when you come here, you do not have to worry about bringing your farm implements and all. That will be provided you when you get here.
How was he going to do this?
Well, now, he was supposed to have some backing. This is what we're going to get to. He was supposed to have been backed. All right, when he came here, he brought his first 1,000 families because he was going to have 1,000 families come for 10 straight years.
About what date are we talking about?
We're talking about 1789. This was immediately after the Revolution.
And 1,000 families came into this area?
That's right, and he was going to bring 1,000 every 10 years. And he was going to have 10,000 settlers in this area. But remember, Rosemary, up until the end of the Revolutionary War, this area right here was not under the jurisdiction of the United States. In other words, when the United States won their independence, the land was only given to them to the Mississippi River.
Okay, when did this area come in?
Okay, it wasn't until 1803 that we came into jurisdiction under the United States government.
In the Louisiana Purchase?
In the Louisiana Purchase, that's right.
So now he was going to bring these settlers into an area that wasn't even the United States?
That's right, and they knew when they came here that they had no law and order or government because they were outside the jurisdiction of the United States. But the people who had come to this area to start with came from Upper Canada, and they came in here with their crude implements and did a little bit of farming. Now, when the Americans came over and started their farming, all of a sudden, the bales per acre, the produce per acre increased greatly. Now, the Americans had the French and the Spanish influence and these Canadian influence in their farming, but they could produce. And they came to this land.
And those were just a look at a few of the tapes we had in 1978. And you gather from that last tape that Ophelia was strictly prejudiced toward the American farmer, and well, she may be as they are both of a farm family. Thank you for joining us tonight on Time for Talk.
You have been watching Time for Talk. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Each evening, Monday through Friday at this time, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is produced through the facilities of the Slicer Street Church. The Holy